Hello, everyone. Welcome to our show, Meet the Global Leader program, which is organized by a School of Entrepreneurship Development. And the purpose of this program is to give showcase the life experiences of our guest speaker who are from different countries and who are working with different fields. So we would like to, like our audience is mainly university students, and second of our audience is entrepreneurs. So we believe that they will get an insight from your experiences, and they will learn a lot from you. And I would like to welcome Katie, who is
Hi.
actually a director of thought leadership for Business Fights Poverty. Katie, welcome to our show.
Thank you for having me. I'm delighted to be here.
Welcome. Please, can you share a bit about yourself with us?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I will keep my answers short, but just ask me more questions if you want me to expand on anything. So,
Yeah.
yeah, my name's Katie Hyson. I am currently the Director of Thought Leadership and COO of a global network called Business Fights Poverty. So we are out there to help people who sit within bigger companies mainly who are trying to get their companies to do more good, more social good. And we help bring together networks of people who are in that society, in that sphere, who are trying to also get those businesses to do good. So it could be that you're sitting within those companies, it could be that you're part of an NGO, it could be that you're part of an academic organization, or indeed policymaker or beyond. And so that's what we're doing at the moment. In terms of how I got there, so my journey's a bit higgledy-piggledy. I started out doing kind of academic, boring stuff that so many do. My journey was by no means extraordinary. I went through university, did biology, and then sort of stumbled into the idea of sustainability. So trying to get businesses to do more good, and got really hooked. And I can tell you a bit more about that journey if you want to.
Great. And here in Bangladesh, some undergrad students they face difficulties, like choosing the career paths. So they have like different they're from different majors, and every major they have different they has like different paths. Like if I study marketing, I have some specific sectors I can explore. So how did you start your career?
So sustainability didn't really exist when I set out. It wasn't a job title necessarily that was very common, and companies didn't really kind of advertise them, even if they did. My experience was very much that I came through university doing basically the subject that I liked the most and I found the easiest, path of least resistance. And then got sort of spat out at the end of university. And I remember going to the careers advisor and saying, look, I have no idea what I want to do. I definitely know that I don't really want to go and do a kind of graduate program. I just think I'm gonna get lost in the mix. I'm not very good at that sort of stuff anyway, and I just wanted to do something a bit different. And the careers advisor basically said, well, you can go and be an accountant. I thought, I don't want to be an accountant. You can go and be a lawyer. Well, you don't want to be a lawyer. Or you can go and do teaching. I don't want to do teaching. And they literally had nothing else. There was no other advice. That was it. It was really uninspiring. And so again, I sort of went for what I enjoyed the most. And by chance, during my degree, I'd stumbled across this amazing place, this physical building called the Royal Geographic Society, which is full of like explorers and adventurers here in the UK, in London. And I basically said, I really want to work there. I actually don't really care what I do. I just want to go and work in this physical building. And so I stalked this poor woman who happened to be the events manager for the building. So she used to look after the physical building. And I harassed her. I just annoyed her and said, I really want to come and work here. I don't mind what I do. Do you have any jobs? No, I don't have any jobs. Do you have any internships? No, I don't have any internships. Do you have anything? And she was like, I just don't have anything that's useful to you. And eventually I convinced her just to have a look at my CV. And so I trundled up to London. And it just so happened that the day I arrived, she had had a job opportunity land on her desk from somebody who worked up in the rafters of this building and said, well, you can come and meet him if you want. And literally the rest, as they say, is history. So it was pure and utter, do the thing I enjoyed the most, and not necessarily follow that path that everybody else was following. Was kind of how I stumbled in sustainability. And the job happened to be in an organisation called the Royal Institute of Navigation. Nothing to do with sustainability at all, but the next door neighbours and the office that I shared a desk in, they did do this thing called sustainability, and I kind of got into it and I really liked it. And yeah, that was the first step closer towards doing what I do these days.
Great. And what did you learn firsthand? I mean, what was new to you when you started your career?
Everything. Everything. I'd never worked in an office before. I'd managed to earn my money up until and through university by always doing sort of in other people's homes type jobs or like events type jobs. I'd never worked sitting down. I'd never had to have a boss. I'd never had to work as part of a team. So the whole lot was just completely new. And I think what I learned was just to be myself, actually, that being a bit not fitting the mold, being a bit quirky was okay. And it didn't matter that I was, I don't know, very rough around the edges, but I had loads of enthusiasm. I really wanted to learn. So I didn't presume to know anything, but I always tried to ask questions. I actually had a chap who worked for me subsequently who really taught me, and it would be one of my pieces of advice to anybody, like, ask questions. However much stupid you think your question is, just keep asking. And ask questions when you know you've probably done something wrong or you feel that things aren't going right. That's the time to lean in and say, like, how can I do this better? I know it wasn't right. What do I do? Because I think it just helps those people who are trying to help you and manage you or are potentially going to be in conflict to you. It takes out the wind from their sails and helps them to go, okay, she wants to learn or he wants to learn, let's lean in. So I think that was my biggest learning, is just keep asking for help, keep being enthusiastic, but you can learn anything.
Great. And what about your next mention? Like, I would like to we would like to know a bit about, like your involvement with Think Big Internal Engagement Manager for Telefonica UK.
Yeah, absolutely. So Telefonica UK is a UK mobile phone company. They were O2 at the time, or they are still O2 as a brand. And again, I kind of stumbled into it. So that company that I was working for in the next door desk, they were managing this program for O2 at the time. And that program evolved. And it was about relationships, actually, that kept that or enabled that program to happen. So the lady who I worked for and gentleman that I worked for at an organization called the Conservation Foundation, and they were just brilliant at building relationships and helping and leaning in and always asking, like, how can we help? And being wise in terms of saying, well, we can do this bit, we'd be really good at that bit, but don't worry about this other bit over here. You'll find other people who are really expert. And I did a master's at the same time in environment and politics and globalization, which the master's itself, I probably, it gave me a really good background, but it probably wasn't very applicable to my job. But just having a master's sounds awful. I literally didn't really apply anything from my master's to my job, but just having those letters probably helped me. I probably showed that I was committed. It was an expensive, probably, I would say. And I don't feel that having a master's in this country anyway is the key that unlocks the door. But for me, it probably helped a little bit. Anyway, so O2 decided to set up a new program. They had a senior leader, a CEO who was really, really passionate about helping young people, and a head of their community and sustainability who was equally very passionate. And then the lady I worked for, Helen Parker, who was super passionate too. So this kind of combination of let's do it, anything is possible. And O2 at the time was very much kind of front foot, everything's possible. And basically we went in there with a blank, it felt like a blank piece of paper. It probably wasn't. It's probably my age and naivety, but it just felt as though we could go in and say, okay, let's have a go. Let's see what it means if we really unlock the energy and capacity of people who are within the business at all levels. So from call center handlers through to the CEO and the C-suite. What does it look like if everybody gets involved and tries to help young people? And that's really what we did. And it was so much fun. And we coupled it with helping the sustainability kind of green agenda. And we sort of drove lots of passionate engagement because of this keenness to want to help people who are really close to your community. And it was such fun, and the energy was amazing. God, I was tired after just a couple of years, but it was really fun.
Great. And your next venture was like joining Barclays as assistant vice president.
Yeah, so I'd spent a few years with O2 and had loved it. And we'd broken world records for mobile phone recycling. We had loads of engagement, and we did a big business case for actually what's the business benefit of enabling your people across your business to volunteer. And I sort of did that, and I felt actually I'm sort of looking for a next challenge, a next step, not because O2 had done anything wrong. I absolutely love them, but just what's next. And this opportunity came up at Barclays, and the job was the most amazing job title. It was like innovation, people engagement, and thought leadership, which is just bonkers in terms of like what sort of thing you could do around sustainability. I didn't think I was going to get it. I literally just thought, oh, I'm just, I don't have nearly enough experience, but it was an amazing opportunity because as much as anything, to try out a totally different culture. So O2 was quite young and sort of really on that kind of let's try anything and have a go. And Barclays had just been through the banking crisis and was very much in that sort of space of like, hey, we need to do things really properly and slowly and thoughtfully. And it just felt very different in terms of how to learn, how to do people engagement, actually, how to really help others to be able to get involved and to see the potential of doing good through their core roles day in, day out. And so intellectually, God, it made me work really hard because I had to be so thoughtful. I couldn't just push something through because of my enthusiasm. And I learned how to work through quite a hierarchical organization that really, has quite a lot of layers in there, because actually making decisions around money you need those levels of kind of who signs off which and guardianship. And so I learned, again, it was just all a learning curve, really. I don't stop learning.
Great. We can feel the enthusiasm, like when you talk about, like your work and the things you do. It's really, inspiring. And you promoted there as vice president.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
what it took to be, going to next level? What was especially new, skill wise, or maybe thought wise? What was different?
I wish I could say it was a step, if that makes sense. It wasn't. It was more that actually I've always done roles that nobody else has ever done. They're always new roles. And so where they're graded in businesses, it's weird. It's a bit arbitrary, because actually I don't line into, a natural career path. There's not an obvious number of people who should be below me or above me. And so where this sounds awful, but the title in front of the role, it doesn't really matter. Because also, to your point, my enthusiasm, I know what I'm not very good at. I lean in really hard. Somebody once gave me a brilliant piece of advice, which was, look, he said to me, he was quite senior within Barclays, and he had very kindly sort of offered me a few pearls of wisdom. And one of the things, I'd taken a problem, and I was like, I'm really bad at this thing I've got to do, and I'm just not good at it. How do I get better at it? And he sat there and thought for a bit, and he said, I have managed many teams, and in my 50 years of career, he said, I have learned that actually there is somebody else who's really good at what you're not good at. And for years, I was trying to make my people better at what they're not good at. But now I've learned if you're not good at it, give it to somebody who's really good. And then you focus on what you're really good at, but you make sure you know what you're not so good at. And so, in terms of that kind of career progression, it was more around just keep pushing and just keep nudging. It wasn't about, oh, this is the next level on the ladder. It was more around trying to just make more of a better, more useful impact. And the job title sort of accidentally came with it, if that makes sense.
That you talk about sustainability, like it has become a really important tool in the battle against climate change and other social, environmental, and economic challenges. What do you think? I mean, what are the pillars of sustainability according to you?
It's interesting because I sort of see it as both sides of that coin. I think it's a really important tool that businesses should be trying to tackle the social and the environment issues that they face. But I also think that if businesses weren't to tackle them, it's a massive risk to the bottom line. And for me, it's more around a combination of businesses understanding and managing the risk to their bottom line. And that's therefore also an opportunity, because a risk can very easily turn into an opportunity, or vice versa, which is to say, if climate change, which is in the headlines at the moment daily, is going to affect your bottom line because you are not going to be able to, I don't know, if you're producing food, where your farmers are sitting, they are no longer able to farm in a particular area because of extreme weather events or flooding or drought and heat. That's going to affect your bottom line. If you are a company who is reliant on really cheap labor to make sure that just to make a bottom line work, and that cheap labor involves having children in your supply chain, for example, that's in so many countries illegal, and you get caught, you're not going to have a business. So for me, it's less about what business can do for the environment and social, and it's as much about you need to, dear business, how are you managing your problems, and therefore making sure there's an opportunity? How are you making sure that you have the best employee standards, worker standards, so that people really want to come and work for you, or shout about and advocate for you, so that you can actually potentially even put a premium on your goods and your output, or at least it's done really efficiently, because you don't have worker sick days or lost days because you're not allowed to do business, because you're really leaning in and you're really managing. I think the uptick element is where businesses are potentially looking at new markets or looking at new business innovation and opportunities. And actually, the best businesses are solving for really big problems, and those problems are often social or environmental problems. And if you are coming in as a business and saying, I've got this really good idea, we've got this brilliant solution to one of the biggest social challenges out there, and it works, I mean, that's the best business model you've got. So that's my kind of argument. It's like, it's got to be good for business. And if it's not good for business, then it might be that somebody else should be doing that piece too.
Great. Very thoughtful. And you also mentioned thought leadership. Can you just share in brief, I mean, what is thought leadership? And also, if someone wants to be a thought leader like you, what are the qualities or characteristics he or she should have?
It's a really good question. Thought leadership is the most peculiar job title I have ever come across, and I'm still not sure what it really means. I don't think I have a good thought. I think other people have amazing ideas and amazing insights and amazing thoughts. I think my job as somebody who looks at thought leadership is actually to go and uncover that, and go and pry into it and pull out and expose and shine a light on other people's amazing thinking. That could be about new ideas. It could be about how a new piece of legislation is really going to affect your bottom line. It could be about connecting the dots. It could be about saying, okay, there's this issue over here and there's some ideas over here. Where's the nexus? Where's the overlap? So as I've been working with a job title, again, the job title means nothing. I lean into what I'm good at. I try to make sure I promote and support other people who are good at what I'm not good at. And the thought leadership is as much about raising the profile of those who are doing amazing work and shining a light on it and connecting the dots and putting amazing thinker one over here with amazing people over here and closing those gaps so that others can make better decisions. For me, it's all about better decision making, because if you do not have all the information, if you do not have all the case studies, the insights, the first-hand piece, then you cannot make a good decision. And really, that's what Business Fights Poverty as a network, we're all about. What is it that you need in order to make a better decision or to help your business make a better decision around a social environmental issue? And then how can we connect those dots? How can we bring that information, or the people who are proximate to the issue, who know it deeply, closer to help you get those good decisions made?
So, according to you, what are the benefits of thought leadership?
I think it's the benefits of not having thought leadership. I mean, if you haven't got the information in front of you on emerging trends, issues, you don't know what people are actually, again, go back to climate change. It's affecting people. It's not just here's carbon in the air and we've got too much carbon. No. It is a big social issue. And if you do not know what that feels like to the farmers who are in your value chain, who are working in country on the ground with weather systems changing every 2 minutes, that you just can't provide the crop, then you are not going to have a business tomorrow. If you don't have the data, the information around, I don't know, something fairly horrific, actually, harassment in the workplace. If you don't know what is going on in your own supply chain, then, or in your own factories, that's really, really, really difficult. But there are other people out there who have got experience, and that experience might have some ideas for you. Ideas of what not to do often, but also ideas of how can you help make your factory safer place for people to work so that they can feel safe and comfortable to come to work. And it could be, for example, there's an amazing lady who's called Jane Pillinger, who's been doing work around mapping safe workspaces around factories, and they literally create a map and say, right, where's the hotspots of that make people are exposed or uncomfortable, and how do we manage that? If you don't have that thought leadership that's really exposing and unlocking that information and that insight, then you can't make good decisions.
Great. And personally, me is really interested to discuss right now with the organization you're working for, Business Fights Poverty. Like in your website, it says you are an award-winning business-led collaboration network focused on creating social impact. It's a very powerful word, because there are so many organizations. Their main objective is to create an impact, maybe in their local community, in their country, or maybe in global scale. So can you enlighten us about what is Business Fights Poverty, and what is the purpose of it, and also how it is creating impact, in your local community and also in abroad?
Thank you. Great question. So first of all, anybody listening, you want to be involved, you can absolutely sign up and become a member of Business Fights Poverty. We are a global community of around 35,000 people. And we do pretty much what we say on the tin. We are trying to work to help businesses fight poverty. And poverty is a shorthand for us in terms of social issues. Now, we know climate change is a big social issue. We know worker rights is a big social issue, safety at work, but we also know inclusivity is a massive social issue. that really holds back people from being able to reach their potential, holds back families from being safe and secure and economically sound. So we really kind of lean in and cover that breadth. Membership and being part of that community means a couple of things. That we are directly trying to support people who work in companies with those tools, that insight, that information that will help them to make better decisions, just what I was talking about. We do that in a number of ways around creating spaces for collaborations to take place. So we literally say to, or invite businesses to put forward the problem that they're working on. We don't presume to know what problems they have. They are invited, and the people within those companies invited to say, what is your problem? What is it that's holding you back from being able to move forward and make a greater social contribution, but also to really help the people who are within your value chains. We also therefore convene. We literally physically bring together people from around the world to close the gaps between the person who is trying to make those good decisions, the person who potentially has a bit of budget, sitting often, and this is from my experience, often in my kind of glass house miles away from those who I'm trying to affect, or the people who are sitting in that kind of value chain and the communities around them. And so we're just trying to shorten that gap. So by joining and being part of Business Fights Poverty's community, it's about coming and saying to whether you're sitting in a community, whether you're sitting in a company, an NGO, or otherwise, who is it that we can try and help, and what truth can we help and share with them? So it's about closing that gap and convening. And the third piece is therefore around the communications, the sharing of the information that is vital to help make those decisions. So it could be about business case data and reports. It could be about, we run a podcast series. We have a fortnightly newsletter, all of which is free at point of access. We do not charge anybody to join any of our events. If you're already a member, you are shared often, vast majority of the time they're public, and you get promotional codes to be able to join. We do, if you wanted to get access to any of our information as a member, it's all free. Access to any of the podcasts, etc., it's all free. So the point is that we just take down those barriers so that information can really freely be shared, and hopefully therefore better decisions are made.
What is your biggest achievement? There are so many, but if you want to share one, like case study as a case study, like that is the outcome of our like initiative, or that is the impact we have created in the community or in global scale. Just one case study.
Oh, thank you. Can I have two? So biggest achievement is probably being here, actually. No, my two. One is I'm a mum. I've got two children, and I've got two stepsons, and just being able to, and this sounds strange, but the pandemic for us to really unlock the power of being able to be working from home, being able to be a mum and pick my kids up from school and look after them and fully lean in, and at the same time to lean into a role and a company and an organization that I absolutely love and deeply care about. It's not my achievement, it's the fact that Business Fights Poverty, Zahid and Yvette Taurus Rahman, who set up Business Fights Poverty, they set up the network that you could work anywhere, anytime, as long as you did the job. And it just leans in and really helps people like myself who've got other things to do, caring in my case. It really it means so much to be able to kind of live my life fully. So that's really my greatest achievement. The side of that, I've done some really fun things on the side of that. I've broken, as I mentioned earlier on, we broke some world records, developed pioneering case studies, like all that kind of really just nudging the system forward and bringing people with us. That's what I really enjoy doing.
Great, like your enthusiasm, like travels through you, like this discussion. I mean, it's really inspiring. I mean, if you really love your work, and if you're passionate about it, like you just like can express your feelings about your work. And like another thing, let's go to another question, which is, what are the biggest lessons or mistakes you have done, or the challenges you faced in your like professional life that actually uh, taught you some valuable lessons?
Oh, thank you. There are lots. I make mistakes every day, and I spend quite a lot of time sort of pondering about my mistakes. I've made some pretty major mistakes, probably because of that enthusiasm, actually. My kind of determination to make everybody feel included and keep on going and keep saying yes when one of the organizations I worked for in the past wanted to go in a different direction, and probably, you know, their leaders wanted to go in a different direction, and I was young and am still passionate and took that on in a confrontational manner. So rather than saying, okay, well, is there a compromise, or trying to understand everybody's point of view, I ran out of my own patience. I ran out of patience, really, and therefore I was confrontational, and that probably rapidly caused the demise of a bigger relationship than it should have been. So I think it's learning patience, learning to really understand lots of people's perspectives, and learning that my way is not the only way. And I learned the hard way on that one. I cried a lot. There were a few sleepless nights and a few nightmares as well. But I think it's about learning lessons. I think you make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. And as I say, I make them every day. But every day I will sit down and I will ask for help, and not presume that I am the one that knows the answers.
Great. And what do you believe about like problem solving skills, how it helps in our personal life and professional life, and how why we should be better at this?
Yeah, problem solving skills, I think, are probably the most important skill going forward, as the whole world is changing so rapidly, as computers and technology take over being able to write us an article or run our accounts or anything like that. Problem solving is going to be one of the biggest skills going forward, and to lean in. And that's not necessarily problem solving in the in that I was taught how to do maths and addition. It's more complex. For me, problem solving is around saying, I don't have the answers. Who is out there and has the experiences that might be able to help us and me? We do something within Business Fights Poverty called peer circles. And we borrowed this theory from an amazing woman called Nancy Klein. And she has a sort of time to think model that's basically about creating space in order to hold a question, and for everybody to share their experiences in trying to solve that. And for me, problem solving is about bringing as many thoughts, experiences to the table. And then it takes a bit of sitting with that problem rather than rushing to an easy solution. I go for a run, or I will sleep on it, or I just will really mull it over until I really think that there might be a good solution. I lean heavily on, I've got an amazing, as I say, team around me, and Zahid and Yvette will always be my kind of first go-to. I've got this problem, I've been mulling it over, I think this might be the right thing, what do you think? That's how I do it. My husband likewise is really helpful in that respect. He's got a completely different perspective and different insights. And so I think it's just not thinking I'm on my own. As soon as I've shared a problem, it gets better for me.
Okay. I would like to just go back. If, say, for example, if there are students or like clubs based on like university. So if they want to like because like this business fights poverty, it's a very compelling organization, and like it's a peer group, like-minded people who wants to learn and wants to know what is going on, like in wants to listen or read experts opinion. If the like university students wants to like get a part of it, to be that practice and what's going on to learn, is there any option for them like to be part of it, just to?
Yeah, absolutely. So everything I mentioned so far around becoming a member of Business Fights Poverty and the community, I absolutely, it's for you. You can go to the website, you can sign up as a member, you can then just lean in, go and have a look at the events we've got coming up. Put yourself forward, for example, if you think that you would like to contribute to be a contributor to an online written discussion, for example, or submit an article. You're very welcome to. We really want to hear from you. We have 5 summits every year. So each of the summits we have take a slightly different theme. So we've just come out of our gender summit. In June, we'll have a global summit bringing together people and really look at kind of the practitioner element, like how do you get better at your job? How do you do making good through business better? In September, we will go to the UN General Assembly and be in New York, and it's December this year, so end of November, December, we'll go this year to Dubai for the climate conference, COP. And each of those summits we will run as a hybrid. So we'll do some online and simultaneously we'll be in person in places. And if you and your group of students around you want to bring together a group and be in a room for some of, or indeed all, of one of those summits, we'd be delighted to hear from you, and we'll support you to make sure that that experience is really great for you. So the whole point of us is that it's free at point of entry. We want you to lean in, be part of it, ask questions, submit your ideas, and lean in.
Great. And we believe, like our audience, they will definitely go to your website and they will find, like what makes them interested, like topics, and they can, learn more. It's a new name for us, like most of us. So they will explore, like, and it's a very fantastic organization. And so far, I read through your website and from you, and like you have worked with you have been working with, I mean, youths and like maybe people from different part of the world. What have you seen? I mean, the skills that people have these days, what they should develop, especially for youths. What are the future skills they should develop now, or being undergrad students, the skills they should focus on to like to get ahead of their time.
Yeah, absolutely. So we did a couple of pieces of research recently, and even these are out of date, which is always really frightening as to how fast the world is working. So we did a piece of research and work with Walmart around the future of skills, and then we did one with Standard Chartered, the bank, looking at their program Future Makers, again at skills and for work. What was coming out from both of those pieces of work, and the same I've seen the World Economic Forum and others publish similar pieces, is the softer skills. So that, as we just talked about, problem solving, communication, so really being articulate and able to lean in to communicate your piece. But for me and from my experience, that passion point, like be passionate about whatever it is that you enjoy doing. And it doesn't necessarily need to be that that's exactly what your job is. That's fine. Just be passionate about something, but lean in and work hard. I think the other one is be ready to ask questions and to take no for an answer and then keep pushing. So not when somebody says no to you, where's the workaround? Where's the other way of doing it? Failure is okay, because failure is a learning point. And that's almost the biggest, for me, the skill that I take and I keep working on, is to say, there are plenty of things I'm not ready for, that I'm not good at, but what is it that I really, will really nudge me and push me along that journey, and then lean in and work hard. I think I got given a piece of advice a few years back that really helped me, though, in terms of just navigating work. which is I'm a bit of I overanalyze stuff, I overthink stuff, and that sometimes stalls me and stops me from moving forward because I'm trying to look for the perfect next step. And this person said to me, he said, don't worry about the next job. It's the next but one. So that, that keep in mind. And therefore is the immediate next step just going to help you get closer to your next but one job. That forward momentum, rather than get caught up on, is this first job, this first experience going to be your perfect one? No, there's no such thing as perfect. It doesn't exist. It doesn't. Is it going to nudge you on the journey? Yeah. Does anything last forever? No, just keep nudging, keep pushing, because perfect doesn't exist. And also the final piece is, as I've alluded to, the jobs are changing so fast and so rapidly. Don't worry that the job is going to be redundant or whatever. Just keep making it up. Keep making up your role. If you see a gap and a problem, go and solve it. What is it? I say all this though. My one of my other bigger problems is I'm really rubbish at saying no, and I would love your advice, everybody. How do I become more streamlined and say no to rather than say yes to everything? So I say this sort of experience is caveated with a massive kind of warning sign that says I'm still figuring it out.
Great. Kitty, we are almost at the end of our program, and we believe that like the advice you have given and the way you have shared your experiences and what have you learned from your professional journey, it's really like from your expression and the way the enthusiastic way you shared with us will definitely help us to to get an insight about like how if someone loves his or her work, like it doesn't matter how hard or how struggle period he or she has been. So you are such a expert and busy person, and your experiences is so much, so it's huge. And the way our guest speaker like you uh, volunteered such a way to share your experience so that some people can get an idea and how people are thinking in different countries and how they're or what are they're working on, so they can their thinking process will change. They will think differently. That like you love your job, your work, the thing you have been doing, and we can get your facial expression and your communicate through your speech. We have seen this, and it will definitely inspire them. The platform we are trying to create is to share the stories around the world, to motivate them and to give them an insight. And the concrete insights we have got from you is really, really amazing. And especially from Bangladesh, we would like to, send you our warm regards and thank you for your, contribution from your stories, lessons you have shared. And the most important thing, enthusiasm and ask questions, the thirst for knowledge and to know more is, in any period of time and whatever the situation, how the world has changed or is going to be changed, there are some concrete skills. These skills will definitely help them to cope up with any changes in this world. And definitely we will guide our and share with our audience to go and learn from your business fights poverty. I believe that they are really doing a great job, and I will personally go and learn from your works. And thank you so much for your time and this insightful and valuable lessons and story to share.
Oh, complete pleasure. Thank you so much for asking me to come and share today. And for anybody listening, I'd be delighted to have you part of the Business Fights Poverty community. Come and join in, but also drop me a line. You'll find me on LinkedIn. If I can ever be helpful, I'd be delighted to be. And massive, all the best with your community and the work that you're doing too. It's vital to all support each other. So thank you.
Thank you. And dear audience, we believe that you have learned a lot from our guest speaker, Katie. And don't, just listen to it. You just have to act on it. You have to go for action. Start working from now. And best wishes for all of you. And thank you, Katie, again. And thank you, our audience, for listening to this.
Thank you.
Thank you.